shifting to the next level is not that hard. And a lot of the times I think people overcomplicate it. Um as you guys know, I moved to New York when I was 18, by myself in my car. No money. I had $2,000 in my bank account, no job, I didn't know nobody. I All I had was my Honda Accord and hopes and dreams. And during that time I had a job where I was working for the post office, USPS. And I'm telling you, I was working like 60 hours a week, grinding, filming. Um, it wasn't the most desirable job, but I was getting paid good. But one thing that wouldn't leave my mind was the fact that I kind of just wanted something better for myself. And it was difficult because, you a lot of the times we get in these certain positions, I call them boxes, where we're in like a specific frame in our life where the things that we do technically satisfy what we need, but deep down in your soul, or in your plans for your self growth, it's just, you got to move up to the next step. And I remember I was stuck there for a while because, the job was paying me well, it was covering my rent. I was paying for a room in New York. You know what I'm saying? I had a new bike. I ended up crashing my Honda Accord, and I didn't know if I should leave the job or not, but I felt like I really had to. Um, Crazy thing is, um, I had already done this before, changing my life completely, taking a risk, losing what I had built. Keep in mind, the post office is a great job. You have all the benefits in the world. I could get through the train station without paying just because I had my postal uniform. They would let me in for free. People had the utmost respect for post office workers. For like the mailman, it was crazy. I'd go into bakeries, free food, whatever. Life was great, but I just felt like I needed something else. The time for myself, um, the feeling that I was really in control of my own life was just not there. And I remember, um, I had gotten into looking for jobs on this one app called Job Today, I believe. It's pretty popular here in New York. And I was trying my best to find a new job, but it was very difficult. It's very difficult sometimes to find a job here in New York. And I remember this one job said they would hire me, or not even. They just gave me an interview. But at this point, I'm making even more money at the post office. I got like a little small bonus, whatever. And I remember the days would just get more and more difficult, just more and more difficult. And I know some of you guys know exactly what I mean. It's like you already know you want to leave, and like the longer you stay, the more difficult shit gets. Like for no reason. It's just like this energy that just keeps pushing you further and further away, almost until like you break. You know what I mean? Um, I remember what I did was before I even had secured the second job, I told my manager I put in my 2 weeks, and I said, "Fuck it, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna throw myself back into the open, back into nothingness. You know what I'm saying? Just back into the world and not hope for the best, but go and find something new. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Sometimes you just gotta take that risk." And I know that phrase of taking that risk often seems cliche. Everybody says it, but one of the best gifts in life that I've experienced, especially when I just moved right after graduation, 18 years old, drove 26 hours from Denver, Colorado to New York, quit my post office job, quit my jobs at Canes. But I've had like 12 jobs. I don't work anymore. I don't work a job anymore. I have my own business going on. But one of the main things that I learned off of like all the times that I just threw myself back into the water, back into the water, I would stay, work something, back into the water. One of the best gifts that I learned was that no matter what, you will always end up better taking that risk than that. And sometimes you take that risk and life doesn't favor you in the best way, but what you learn from that helps you make it favor you in the best way. Regardless, it's always a W. And it's hard because a lot of the times we have family and we have people who tell us, no, why would you do this? Oh, what you got going on is so good. Even your own coworkers, your boss might give you a raise to make you stay. And this doesn't have to be about jobs. It could be about anything, life, family, whatever. Um, But the important lesson is like you really just got to make that jump. And if you don't make that jump, you're not going to learn, you're not going to grow, you're just going to be stuck. And depending on what you want for your life, if it's to just follow a career, in your workspace, um maybe leaving your job isn't the best example for you. And maybe it's more about, I don't know, finding a different company who's in your career sector or whatever. Maybe if the way this resonates to you is specifically with family, you don't know if you should stay with family or in a relationship or not. um it's really the point is kind of the same, which is to just throw yourself in the water, knowing if that you might not be able to pay rent next month, knowing that you might not be able to satisfy the people around you the way you have been, or take care of certain people just because they're under your responsibility. And still making that risk will force you and put you in a position where no matter what happens, that risk has to work out. And usually, you only grow as much as you can when you absolutely need to, and not when you absolutely want to. You gotta need to grow to really get to that next step. So, throwing yourself into the water is usually, from my experience, every single time has been the next step forward, is when I throw myself into the water. Um, and just to clarify what throwing yourself into the water means, it means getting rid of all your support, gone, throwing yourself in, restarting, brand new. And it doesn't have to be extreme. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to ghost the world. You don't have to do the most like crazy thing, but it just means like whatever is like main priority in your life that you've been working on or work for or whatever, and you want something new, you gotta get rid of that to be able to receive something new. You feel me? And that's just the reality of it. Um, a lot of the times it gets pretty difficult to really believe in yourself, especially before you make that jump. You start getting all these thoughts about what could happen. Um, Maybe there's people that you care about in those spaces. Um, Experiences that you enjoy. Maybe you feel like you're finally part of a community and you don't want to lose that community. There's lots of factors that go into things like this, and this self growth in life. Um, and what I can say to that is, the people who are there, the people who do matter, who do care about you, will be there for you, whether you're in that community, in that job, in that relationship or not. And I say this because you could be thinking, oh no, because I don't, these people, I only ever see them at work. They're really just work people, but I care so much about them. Or this person I'm in a relationship with, if I leave, they're not going to care about me. You'd be surprised, because human emotion is much more than human emotion is much more than I like you, you like me, we're friends. You feel me? Because emotions don't necessarily follow by the rules. Emotions stick. So if you have a good impression on somebody, or the way that you affect somebody's life is positive, even if they absolutely hate your guts, their heart will still yearn for you. You know what I'm saying? Their heart will still have some sort of love for you. Like, there's a reason people say lovers to enemies, or people, oftentimes who have the most issues with each other end up missing each other the most when they don't have each other anymore. It's because it's a dynamic. Emotions don't follow the mental rules of how you necessarily feel about somebody. It's more about the effect that the people have in your life. So you don't got to worry about that. I'm not gonna dive too deep into that, but that's just you know it helps to know that, because I understand a lot of the times it's just difficult, especially when you're alone. You don't really got that many people. I have no family here. I have no friends in New York, no family in New York. I still kind of don't. You know what I'm saying? I've built a few connections here and there, but it's not like my hometown where I know almost everybody. And if I don't know you, I know people who know you, and then we're just instantly kind of like interlinked. You feel me? Like, it's not. You get the point. Um, but yeah, back to the main topic. When you really want that change in your life, you gotta let go of what you're doing in the moment. Um, you just got to. And I say this while looking at myself, looking at a picture of myself on my computer, as you guys can see. Cause I'm really just talking to myself. And I understand because when I'm seeing myself, I see that person who wanted to get out, who wanted to keep growing, who wanted to experience new, something better. You feel me? But was stuck in a place by himself, where he felt like that's the only place he belonged, and he didn't know how to get better for himself or grow. And I just wish if I could talk to him right now, I just tell him like, man, just bro, even if he didn't have that second job lined up, because he actually didn't have that second job lined up. He took the risk, and the job happened to land in his hands, and that was a great job. I was super lazy, by the way. It was a driver. I was like a driver for a restaurant. I would do catering, so big events, delivering food. They would let me smoke, do whatever. I would sit in the van for most of the time, just doing nothing, just doing nothing. I'd have like one or two deliveries a day, bro. I would go in sometimes to the actual restaurant, and like they had a little bar. Manager would give me like a shot. She'd be like, yo, take a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a nice day, whatever. Keep in mind, I'm the driver, and I was 19. But besides the point, I would just tell him, man, like, job or not job, anything lined up or not, take that fucking risk. Cause you know what? You're gonna get to where you want to go. Debt, money, people liking you, family, all of that stuff is external when it comes to you, because at the end of the day, it's your life. All right, it's your life. And no matter what you do, everything will fold around you. If you're living in New York, your life will fold around you. The things that you like are gonna be attracted to you. Like, your lifestyle, your mentality is gonna be what your life becomes in New York. And if you move to California, the same exact thing is gonna happen. And you're gonna make a similar type of vibe, similar type of friends, similar type of experiences, because it's your life. You understand that? And I don't know if you guys have people in your life who've dramatically changed, switched up. This isn't supposed to be. This is a great example. Um, uh, maybe you grew up with somebody who was straight. Suddenly, you find out that they're not straight. They're into different types of people or whatever. They like to explore more. And to you, that's a little bit different. Maybe you're not used to that. In this day and age, it's different. Everybody has their own opinions on that. But this is an example. At some point, it's just like, whatever. Okay, bro, you like this, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? And everybody moves on about their life. And you still probably, you're still friends with them. You still care about them. They're different. But that doesn't change much. I mean, as long as you're a respectable human being, is what I'm saying. Like, or maybe somebody that you really cared about moved far away. You don't see them anymore. You still care for them though. You still remember them, because at the end of the day, like, just because somebody's life dramatically changed doesn't mean you're gonna turn fake on them. And that's what you should realize too. If and when those thoughts do pop into your brain, because um you just can't be living your life for other people, especially if you want to take control of your own life. And I've given a lot of people great advice. I have a friend. He has his own business, and often, and he was making, this guy was pushing like 200 to 500, no, like 500,000 a month, no, a year, 500,000 a year off his own business from his parents' basement, right? He had a job though, and sometimes he would go into his job, 9 to 5, he would get some benefits, and I told him, like, that's great, but eventually he told me once, he was like, yo, bro, like, you feel me, like, I don't know how I feel about working this job. Sometimes it takes away from what I'm doing, and I don't know. I just haven't been able to really lock in and get. And I told him, man, listen. I told him the same exact advice. I told him, listen, you make that jump, whatever you jump into, whatever your direction is. Once you make that jump, what you look for is gonna times 3, times 4, times 5. Who knows? And it took him a little while, but he ended up quitting his job. And this guy is he I would say the growth that I've seen ever since he quit his job would have never happened had he stayed working that job. Never. Just never. Um, he's looking at doing at least 1.2 million this year. It's crazy. It's crazy. And keep in mind it's from his parents' basement. Like it's insane. It's insane. And it's just something that it's just something that you gotta do, really. You just gotta do. If you're watching this video, it's just something you gotta do. Um this doesn't necessarily mean that life is always gonna get easier. It just means life is gonna get more accurate to what you desire. You feel me? So if what you desire, for example, is to increase your business, that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. If your desire is to have more free time, that's exactly what's gonna happen. I was working my job 60 hours a week, and I wanted time for myself. And the next job that I got, I was working 5 hour shifts. No, six. 4 of those hours, I was sitting in the van smoking with my coworker and getting shots from the restaurant and flirting um with the waiters, you know. And then the other 2 hours of that job, I was driving around listening to music, going around the city, and I love driving. I was just doing exactly what I wanted with all the time that I wanted, and then I would just go home and do whatever, like just whatever, just hang out. I just had all the time for myself. I had so much time that I ended up getting bored. I ended up getting bored, and I just started feeling like I wasn't doing shit. And I was getting paid. I was, my rent was covered, everything was covered, my food, everything. I was just bored. That's how. That's. I got exactly what I wanted in the best way possible. So much that it became so abundant that I just didn't even need it anymore. Like I was getting tired of it. You feel me? Um, it's just a crazy thing. It's really a crazy thing because a lot of the times you don't even realize like, yo, what you want is exactly what you get, it's gonna keep happening over and over in life, and it happens until what you want is too much for you, and then it's something else. Because as human beings, we constantly want new things. We're consumers. You know what I'm saying? We want something else. We want this. We want that. We want that. Like that's just how we operate. If you don't want anything, you probably don't get much because you don't want anything. Like your life follows you by your desires. At the end of the day, your emotions, your desires, that's kind of what creates the life around you. And you can always shape that. You can always take control of that. You can always, manipulate that. But you gotta know what the risks are. You gotta know the sacrifices you gotta make. I'm sure you guys have heard that one saying where it's like, what's the saying? It's like, to gain something, you must lose something of equal value. Something like that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's one of my favorite sayings because it makes me realize, like, whoa, like, you just gotta understand the game, really. And you gotta be willing to, like, let something go. You really do. I think that can be really hard sometimes. It really can. It can be really hard to let something go. But at the end of the day, if you look back in your life, what you've gone through, the things that you have had to let go and or been forced to let go, you'll find that most of the time, if not all of the time, what comes after is much better. And maybe it doesn't feel like it's better. Maybe you care more about what you ended up having to sacrifice or let go. But you realize that what's in your life or what came after ended up helping you, pushing you, or giving you what you needed. Um, what was actually meant for you. You feel me? Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's a funny way of life and the way that things go. And I feel blessed to have gone through what I've gone through so far to be in the position that I am. Um, where I don't really do, bro. Okay, if I get bored, I do a lot of development. I work on projects for other people. I get paid to create projects, websites, apps for other people. I get paid to give advice to people. And I also move. Apple products internationally. I sit here at home all day long. I probably work a couple hours a day, a couple, not more than like 5 hours a day. Never, unless I'm out and about all day long doing pickups, to source devices or whatever. Um, I Before I got to this point, a year ago today, I had been broke for 4 months straight. I had gone back to live at my parents' house um that summer 2025. I was so broke. I was driving my car with no insurance for like 5 months. I I couldn't even go to the grocery store and buy myself one of those little sushi packets. No matter what I did, I was just not making money at all. I was just not making money. And I would, I hated to do this, but I would ask my mom for some money to help me so I could try to reinvest it or something. And that money would just, I would lose it. It was this trend. I couldn't get out of it. And then fast forward 1 year, I'm back in New York. I have a really good computer. I'm into technology. I have a really good computer. I have a really good monitor for myself. I actually have two computers. I had to sell my Xbox Series X last year because I was so broke. I have a brand new one next to me. I have in my room right now hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of just assets that I don't even know what to do with. You know what I'm saying? And this isn't a flex. This isn't a flex, but in this random drawer, right? Like I just have like bills, just bills on bills. You know what I'm saying? That I have no real use for right now. They're just sitting here. I'm gonna invest them because that's what I do. I just reinvest things. But I'm just it's such a different lifestyle. What can happen in 1 year? You know what I'm saying? When you just let yourself go through that hole. It's funny. It's really fucking funny because I don't think I was more mad at the universe or at God or whatever last year than I've ever been in my whole life. Like I probably didn't word that correctly. Last year was probably the most disappointed, the most unfaithful, and most like annoyed and frustrated I was at life ever. Ever. And keep in mind, I haven't told you guys this, but last year, well, on my birthday, February, in 2025, February 1st, I got shot 3 times. I got shot here, here, and in my mouth. How about the scar? I don't know if you can see it. The bullets are still in my body. The doctors didn't take it out. But I can show you right here where I got shot. You can see that. I can show you guys right here. Um, After I got shot, I hated life, bro. Like my ambition and what I wanted and like my need to like my ambition to get rich to whatever gone out the window. And I remember, I was day trading at the moment, and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. When I got out of the hospital, all of a sudden, keep in mind, I hated life. I didn't give a fuck about the money. I didn't give a fuck about nothing. All of a sudden, I'm making like $30,000 in a month. And when that happened, I was so empty inside. I'm like, yo, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna start trying to get with some huzz. You know what I'm saying? Drink, party, whatever. As you can tell, well, not as you can tell, but as you can assume, soon after that, give it 2 3 months, I was dirt broke with a brand new Mercedes. Couldn't pay insurance. Couldn't. I didn't have money for fucking food, bro. I didn't have money for fucking gas. I had the DoorDash to get gas to drive around. Feel me? Like that shit was crazy. And I remember I even got baptized because I was like, holy shit, like this is such a crazy turn of events. Like God's punishing me. Getting baptized didn't do shit. And I'm not saying to like disapprove of anybody's belief or nothing. It just didn't do what I wanted it to do because of my intentions for it. I mean, either way, it just didn't do shit. I was coping. You feel me? I was coping. And that's one thing about me. I like to stay really realistic, but I was just coping. And then from getting all that money to just being broke the whole rest of the year, just dirt fucking broke, dirt broke. was crazy. And it wasn't until October that me, as a guy who likes technology, just for context of how good life can be when you allow it to just consume you, you just throw yourself in the water. I like technology. I like to travel. Um I just like technology. And I love Apple products. I collect Apple products. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see if I can show you guys. I don't know if you guys can see. That's a lot of iPhones that I just have sitting around. I have my Mac Mini. I have I just have a lot of Apple products. A lot. I move a lot of Apple products. I have a lot. But before that, I didn't have as many. But I love them. I've always liked watching the videos of Apple, Samsung releasing their new phones, whatever. He was one of my friends. He's like, yo, bro, like I'm getting into buying and selling phones. Maybe you can help me. You can make some extra money. And I was like, look, bro, I haven't made money in months, and I want to move back away from my parents' house back to New York because I don't know what happened to me. Like, I've just been out of my loop, and it's been like almost a damn year. And he said, look, bro, I can guarantee you can make 10. Well, I asked him actually. I was like, can you guarantee me I can make 10 months? I mean, $10,000 in the next 3 months if I lock in. And that was kind of a stupid question. Looking back, I'm like, well, like I could have easily made $10,000 in 3 months. But back then I had no faith in nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've been broke. So I was like, yo, like there's no way. And I was like, he's like, yeah, bro, I mean, if you really put the work in, I guess you can make $10,000. Month one, I had made like 1.2. Yeah, like 1.2. I was like, now he told me, he was like, look, bro, you gotta be patient. You know what I'm saying? The money doesn't just come like that, like an organized. That's a job. You understand? When you're doing your own thing, the money moves differently. You have to. The capital grows. It stacks on top of itself. I was still learning this. Month two, $5,600. I was like, okay, wait a minute. That jump from 0 to 1.2 is decent. But from 1.2 to 5 point something, that's like a $4,000 jump. All right, cool. Now I matched a 9 to 5, a decent 9 to 5, by the way, a post office 9 to 5, which is what I was getting. I was getting paid $4,000 a month from the post office, working 60 hours a day, every day, every fucking week. No, 60 hours a week, every fucking month. Um, and then that last month, I remember from November to January, I went from 5.2 to 11.8. Now keep in mind, I took losses. Bro, I lost about $3,000 getting robbed, scammed, just learning the game because the game has a price. The game has a price. So if and I don't want to necessarily make people think this way. I like to, just because it kind of helps me motivate myself, keep myself locked in. But if I had not lost that money, technically that money passed through me, I would have made almost $10,000 in 1 month after going from 0 to 1.2, and then from 1.2 to 5 point from 1.2 to 5.2, no, some 5 point something, and then from 5 point something to 11.8. But then let's add the 3,000 that I had gotten robbed from, 14.8, basically almost 15. It's crazy. It's crazy. And all it took for me was just to keep it going, just keep pushing. And I had such a tight deadline on myself. Like, I said, I need to get this money so I can leave on the last day of January back to New York. I don't care what happens. I need to go. And if I don't have enough, I'm going to make it happen anyways. But I logged in on the work. I just did the steps every day. I would wake up and just start. Bro, I would wake up. I would spam Facebook. I would see people all across the city, Denver, Colorado. I would drive from Thornton to Aurora, which, if you guys don't know, that's like a 50-minute drive, hour and a something drive if there's traffic. Every day, back and forth, all day long. I would go to the mountains, which is another hour or something drive. I would drive everywhere. I would do the drives nobody wanted to do on Facebook Marketplace to pick up people's devices, just because I wanted it. And I remember I hadn't done the math on my money the last month. All I knew was like I just pushed and pushed and pushed. And by the time that the day came that I got my flight and packed all my stuff to come back to New York, and I counted all my money, I was shocked. It didn't feel real. It felt surreal. Like it felt like, wow, I ended up getting more than what I expected by a lot. Cause to be honest, my goal was $3,000 to move back to New York. Cause keep in mind, I had done it with 2,000 before. It's like I just need $2,000. I'll go back to New York. My goal was 3,000 originally. Then I pushed it to five. And then when I told my friend, like, can I make this 10K in 3 months? I was really just trying to like, I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know what I could get out of this by setting a really high expectation. And my friend had faith in me. He helped me out a lot. And it's crazy because he helped me. He helped by guiding me and by helping me stay focused. But the fact that I made 11.8 or almost $15,000 had I not been robbed, which I'm not even gonna lie, a lot of that money ended up coming back because a lot of those people got caught. I would get a call from Aurora PD. If you know Aurora, you already know how Aurora is. Oh, you want your phone back? Do you want to sue? Do you want to press charges? Give me my phone back so I can sell that. What the fuck? Feel me? Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. You just gotta take that risk. That's really all it is. You just gotta take an immense risk. An immense risk that may not make a lot of sense to other people. It may not. It just may not make a lot of sense to other people. People might think you're crazy. They might think what you're doing is wrong. They might not believe. Just simply not believe in you. People will stop talking to you. People will let them. Because once you done your job, done your things, done your reps, and gotten yours, you become a staple to your community of what it means to grow. And that only helps you push you further because now you have this conviction inside yourself like, yo, I already did this once. I could do this again. And then you keep going. And every time that you do it, you get better and you grow more. So now people are like, yo, they see that. Now that's you. Now you know what I'm saying? Now people see you as the changer, the guy who changes, who grows. And your belief within yourself just expands over and over and over. It's crazy. It's really fucking crazy. Um, yeah. It's just insane. Um, I like to help people. I like to help people. But other times I don't like to help people who don't. Like I can usually tell when somebody really wants to change. Sometimes people just want to ask me questions. Listen, nobody's too cool for anybody. But some people's time is more valuable than others. And honestly, my time has increased in value by a lot the more that I've been working on my stuff and doing my things. So a lot of the times when people try to ask me or ask me, and I'm not going to say a stupid question because there's no such thing as a stupid question, but when people try to make these just ask me a question and it's not even that they want to know the answer, they just want to kind of like just kind of waste my time. Let me just put it that way. I absolutely don't like that. And I don't respect that. I don't waste my time with that. But a lot of people do come to me with real life situations, real life motivation, or real life need to grow. And that I respect that a lot. Um, there's a lot of joy that comes from helping people. And I wouldn't be able to give that joy if I hadn't done the things that I've done. And I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Matter of fact, right now, as I'm making this video, I'm thinking about one of the biggest jumps I'm going to make in my life. Well, up to now, of course, because it's going to keep going. But that just goes to show, like, this is just kind of how it goes. This is just kind of how it goes. Um, a lot of the times, um, you might think to yourself, well, once you've done the changes necessary, once you've taken enough jumps, you're gonna come to a realization that sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's ever enough. No matter where you get, what you do, what you end up, and that's good, and that's good. You know why? Because let me put this in perspective. If 1 year ago me, the one who hated everything, who was broke as shit, couldn't buy sushi from from Walmart, saw where I am right now with the things I have right now, he would flip for joy. He would probably pass out. To be honest, I was so damn bad. And now I'm here, and all this that I have, it's normal. Like, I don't see why I wouldn't have it. Like, I got to the point where I have this. Like, I worked for this. You feel me? Like, I don't see how I couldn't have this. The future that this version of me wants for myself later, I would jump for joy if I had that shit right now. I would be amazed. I don't know if you ever felt the feeling when you come across a lot of what you want, or you get exactly what you want, and it's kind of like a fleeting moment. Maybe it lasts a couple weeks, months, whatever. But it's like you see your potential. That's how I would feel if I had what I want right now. You feel me? But when you get that, your emotions peak, and you know what happens when your emotions peak? They come back down. They come back down, and then you crash. And then half the times, if you can't maintain that, you can't control your emotions, you're gonna lose what you built, lose it completely. So what I'm trying to say is, it feels like you never have enough, but the reality is, you always have more than enough. Especially if you're somebody who continues to grow and build in their life. Because the reality is, the same person you are a year ago today, or the same person you were a year ago today, wished that they had what you wanted. They probably thought they probably needed what you have with you right now, and they didn't have that. You feel me? So it's just things that I keep in mind, because it just helps. At the end of the day, it's all about that self-belief and that conviction that you can keep going, that you can do it, that throwing yourself into that water and taking that risk isn't gonna kill you. You feel me? Like, you're gonna come out of that. It's not because God said you're gonna come out of it. It's not because your mom said you're gonna come out of it. It's because you decided that you're gonna come out of it one way or another. That's the only way it works. That's the only way it works. Yeah. Um, if I had one last thing to add, one of the biggest caveats of taking those types of risks, of jumping into the water, is that you're gonna be very uncomfortable. You're gonna have to be very uncomfortable. And I should have mentioned this earlier. I think I kind of like grazed upon it, but you're gonna be extremely uncomfortable, and it can be for a minute, it can be for a long time, it can be for a very long time, but you're gonna be extremely uncomfortable for a time being. But that uncomfortability gets paid back. Like, you get what that uncomfortability cost you, and some, when it all comes and arrives to you. You get it all back. You know what I'm saying? Like when you do win, when you do achieve the goal, all the uncomfortability that you had comes back and some. Like, you gotta realize, like, you when people say charge it to the game isn't fair, and you're gonna take crazy losses at the worst times possible. But when you win, when you get what you want, when you reach that goal, the game, everything that you charge to the game comes back to you with interest. You feel me? With interest. Because you're basically giving the game a loan when it does you wrong. When life does you wrong, you're giving it a loan. All right, cool. You did me wrong. You did me really fucking dirty. Cool. I'm gonna keep pushing though. And you don't even gotta do anything about it. That's the crazy part. You don't gotta do anything about it. Because when it comes back, man, it comes back and it comes back with friends. Like it comes back and it brings friends. It brings friends for you, it brings friends for your friends. Everybody's having a party. You feel me? Um, bro, I don't know how else to explain this. You just gotta really be there for it. You gotta really be there for it. You just gotta really be there for it and experience it, because taking those L's, taking those setbacks, putting yourself out into the ocean again, it's probably one of the most beautiful things about life, because it's like it also kind of just makes you feel the most human. If you ask me, if I were to just be able to stick to one thing forever, I'd be a fucking robot. I cannot do that. One thing for the rest of my life, or for no, I just can't do it. I don't think I've ever stuck to one job for longer than, I think the longest job I ever had ran for like 9 months, and I'm doing just fine. You feel me? I probably had like 12 jobs. I'm just not that person. I just cannot stick to one job. And when no, there's no growth in that. There's no progress in that. There's nothing in that. That's called stagnancy. That's what I call it. That's how I see it, at least, stagnancy. You know, maybe if I wanted to increase my social skills, I'll stay at a job for a year or two if that was my goal. But to be honest, like, I don't, that's not really my goal. So you know what I'm saying, a job like that, that was a job at Subway, by the way. My first job ever, by the way. If I really wanted to increase my social skills, I wouldn't be working at Subway. All right. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Subway or worked at Subway, but the customers, just like the workers, nobody's nice. Nobody's nice. Customers are hungry. They want food. The workers are tired of people making these stupid ass fucking sandwiches. It's stupid. All right. Yeah. I would heavily advise for you to know, or kind of understand, or be ready for the pain and the trouble that you might go through. But knowing in the back of your head that regardless what you get back will forever be better than what you lost or what you had to go through, just forever. That's just one thing I wish I could tell myself when I was fucking dirt broke last year. I'd be like, bro, and he really fucking tried, but he would just get broken. Like, that's the craziest part. Like, you can know that, and life will sometimes know that you know and fuck you over because you know even more, just to like make you lose it. Deadass, life will make you fucking lose it. And I wish I could tell him, like, bro, you gotta be empty-headed sometimes, empty-headed, dead in the brain, pretend like what's happening around your life doesn't exist, because, bro, like, the world can be the dirtiest player to you just because it wants to break you. And you can let it break you. You know, you grow from getting broken. You feel me? But you can skip all that if you simply just have the strongest faith ever. And that's a lot harder to do than it is to say, because, well, at least for some people, at least it was for me, because, you know, I had done these big changes before, but for what I wanted now, I hadn't done that yet. So when you haven't done it yet for a specific thing, it becomes a little difficult. Because you don't even know where to go. You don't even know the path. You know, you don't even know the path. And when you don't know the path, you have to just carve a brand new one. And there's a lot of fun in carving a new one, because you learn, but you also take those losses. You take those L's. And your biggest fears will get amplified. That's something you got to be prepared for. Your biggest fears will get amplified. So being aware of what your fears are is something that I would also heavily advise for, just so you can kind of like be prepared and know like, okay, well, this is going to become a bigger issue probably, and I don't necessarily have to fix it, but I just need to be aware in the head. Just know this is part of the game. You just got to get through it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do hope you guys did. I hope this helps somebody. Yeah, I do give advice. I'm more open to talking to people if they need help. I charge a small fee, but it's something I enjoy doing. And if you need help, you need guidance, you just want to talk to somebody, you can hit up my Instagram, Emmanuel.lbx, Emmanuel with 2 M's. Just chat with me, let me know. All right, hope you guys have a good one. Stay safe.